Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 28th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Another day, another dollar, if you will. I'm essentially just kind of, we have one more day, then it's the weekend. And for me, it's going to be another long weekend. I got another mini vacation ahead of me. So that's nice. Yay. We love to see it. I'm excited to have some news to cover today. So that's cool. That's good. Let me go ahead and do my startup and then we'll just go ahead and get right into it. No food corner. There really wasn't anything exciting. Ooh. Okie dokie. All right. From Good Morning America. Gypsy Rose Blanchard released from prison after serving time for mom's murder. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, the Missouri woman sent to prison for the murder of her mother, Claudina Dee Blanchard, who allegedly abused her daughter and kept her sick for years, was released on Thursday. She was released from the Chillicothe Correctional Center at 3:30 a.m. local time, according to the Missouri Department of Corrections. Gypsy Blanchard and her boyfriend, Nicholas Gojohn, were arrested in 2015 for the murder of Dee Blanchard, who was found stabbed to death in her Springfield home. Gypsy Blanchard pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years. The case garnered national headlines and was even made into a streaming series on Hulu in 2019. Patricia Arquette won an Emmy for playing Dee Blanchard in the series called The Act. Dee Blanchard allegedly abused her daughter for years by convincing Gypsy and the public that she was extremely sick, even when she wasn't. That was Munchausen by proxy. Gypsy Blanchard, now 32, grew up believing she suffered from conditions including leukemia, muscular dystrophy, vision and hearing impairments, and seizures. She used a wheelchair, a feeding tube, and underwent multiple surgeries that were later deemed to be unnecessary. Dee Blanchard allegedly lied about Gypsy's age, making her appear younger on documents. Gypsy Blanchard said her mother kept her weak, isolated, and dependent on her, and said her mother became more controlling as she got older. She physically chained me to the bed and put bells on the doors and told anybody that I probably would have trusted that I was going through a phase and to tell her if I was doing anything behind her back. Gypsy Blanchard told ABC News 2020 in 2017. Inevitably, Gypsy Blanchard gets curious about the world. She winds up making a dating profile. She winds up meeting Gojohn. In my head, I keep saying Gojohn, but it's Gojohn, I think. And I think essentially they hash this whole plan to be together. And Gojohn says, okay, on their second date, he drives down and in the heat of everything, he winds up stabbing her and his mom or her mom. I'm sorry. And and later, Gypsy winds up posting I'm glad she's dead and shit like that. And I kind of remember because I've seen parts of that series, and then I've listened to some podcasts about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And it's interesting for me, because, my name's on the fucking podcast. I gotta say this shit from my lens and perspective. How, for me, I remember feeling this is really fucked up what the mom did. It's so bad. But, clearly this situation, she should have just, ran away. She should have, gotten the opportunity and just got up out of there. She didn't have to do all this. And I can kind of see, I don't know if it's just so much just me and time plus doing this podcast and really just seeing how you can kind of get to a point and by the end of a trial and everything's kind of laid out for you, you go, man, is this really going to be worth all this time that we're about to give this person? And especially when you're looking at someone like Blanchard, and it's like, man, does this person even deserve this time? And I can see now that, like, my perspective back then when I initially heard this story was a little bit more, I feel like jaded is the word. I just was coming at it from a different way, and I was like, oh yeah, like I can see now where I was like, yeah, I can see. And another thing was too, was I was kind of scrolling, doing my thing. I'm always on social media, and I was seeing like people like hype, and I was like, wow, I'm like, how do people know about this shit? And then I realized like, oh, people watched the act. It wasn't just like the person who put me onto this show. It was, this was like a whole phenomenon. It was a whole experience for people. And, I think people are just generally happy to see her out. And it is really charging to hear her say things like, yeah, being in prison has been more of a freeing experience than it was at my own home with my mother. Like, so when you really just like dwell on the context, at least for me, when I really sit there and marinate on that shit, and you go, oh, Isaiah, don't look at it from your perspective. Like, oh, well, I would just have gotten up there and gotten out of there. Like, no, imagine this is the person you live with. This is the person who raised you. This is your everything. And they're telling you, like, literally without me, you would die. You have all these things going on with you that aren't going on with you. But, without me, you'll just cease to live. And, like, no, you can't see this man. And, because, like, he's fucking up my vibe. And that's crazy. And it just, seeing this whole thing kind of took me back to, like, some of the scenes I remember seeing. And I really kind of understood. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, it is great that she's out. It is crazy. It's a crazy-ass fucking situation. For Go John, he's still in prison. I believe it is a life sentence, no parole. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a sad situation all around. I think another thing that I was really clinging on to back in those days was like the whole like Law and Order brain that I feel like I had, where I was like, well, what about the mother? She's the victim. Like, at the end of the day, she's someone who died. Like, yeah, sure, she was a bad person, but like, you can't just like kill someone. So yeah, I and I think I still do think about that, and that's how this the whole legal process does work, and all that fucking shit. So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get up here and talk about that, talk about Gypsy Blanchard, talk about growth, and I too am happy that she's out. It's good. It also, like, when you look at the pictures, I don't know if it's like, if other people have the same reaction as I do, but like, it throws me off that she's 32 years old. That's 1 year younger than me. And then also by comparison, if you see a picture of Go John, he is, I believe 34. He was born in 89. So I was like, oh shit. Like, what a comparison. Like, all of us are in our 30s. That's kind of fucking wild. But yeah, so yeah, I just want to wrap on that, talk about that shit. Let's go ahead and move on to the next beat. From the Associated Press, Boebert switches congressional districts, avoiding a Democratic opponent who has far outraised her. Republican Representative Lauren Boebert announced Wednesday she is switching congressional districts, avoiding a likely rematch against a Democrat who has far outraised her, and following an embarrassing moment of groping and vaping that shook even loyal supporters. In a Facebook video Wednesday evening, Boebert announced she would enter the crowded Republican primary in retiring Representative Ken Buck's seat in the eastern side of the state, leaving the more competitive 3rd district she barely won last year, and which she was in peril of losing next year, as some in her party have soured on her controversial style. So yeah, I mean, she blames this on like dark money, George Soros, Aspen elitists or something that essentially are like holding her back. And she's like, yeah, I don't want to let down my constituents, so I'm leaving my constituents for another district that I think I can win, essentially is what she's saying and doing. And I learned today that there is a Civil War phrase for this that's called carpetbagging, essentially saying, hey, I don't have to live here. I just have to be in the state. I'm going to make this shit happen for another group of people. And I get to stay in my position of power. Yay, everyone's happy. But at the same time, it's like, wait, aren't you supposed to be representing your constituents? And if, like, you lose, then you should just, like, I don't know, bow out gracefully and just, like, call it a fucking career, or then start up your career in a new place, maybe. But essentially, Lauren Boebert saying, fuck that. And Boebert has added that she is going to move from one area to another part. Let me read a little bit more. Boebert called it a fresh start, acknowledging the rough year following a divorce with her husband and a video of her misbehaving with a date at a performance of the musical Beetlejuice in Denver. The scandal in September rocked some of her faithful supporters, who saw it as a transgression of conservative Christian values, and for which Boebert apologized at events throughout her district. And God help me, it took a lot. I really wanted to talk about this whole Beetlejuice musical incident. I'm kind of honestly using her switching districts as an excuse to talk about it. So essentially, she goes out. She wants to go see Beetlejuice, which I'm kind of surprised Lauren Boebert wants to get down like that. I mean, okay, sure, whatever, fine. So she takes her little date, her little boy toy, which it turns out after the controversy and people did some digging, was like a liberal bar owner. And apparently the two had been canoodling for a while, even though she said that was like a first date or something. And yeah, she was just acting out. She was just being indignant. She was not giving a fuck. There's a moment where she's like being loud and rude and boisterous. At one point in the musical, she's vaping. One of my favorite moments that isn't talked about as much, but there's a pregnant woman that is like kind of telling her to like chill out. Like, could you like be quiet? This is like a fucking musical. And like Boebert proceeds to like just try to just be as mean as she can, and is like, you live a sad life. Like just tries to go for her jugular. And it's like, she just told you to like just be quiet, just relax. This is a musical. I'm trying to fucking watch Beetlejuice. And like I said, the vaping happened. Her boyfriend got a little frisky, wanted to touch on the boobies, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna let him. And then she winds up getting kicked out. And it's crazy because I know, like, I've been out and about in the public, yeah, sure, if smoking is illegal where you are, most places it's not legal in America. You can't like just smoke wherever, but you see people hit the vape, they blow a little cloud, whatever. It's fine. No big deal. But come on, it's a fucking musical and you can't do that. And like, I remember watching like clips and you just see her doing like Vape Nash style fucking clouds. And it's like, girl, you plan to lose. It's crazy. And I'm just we're talking one sliver of Boebert's life. I have listened to so much random ass shit between her husband, her kids. It's like, y'all are hooting and hollering all over fucking Denver. It's crazy. But hey, look, at the end of the day, I'm curious to see how it's going to go for Colorado. In terms of Adam Frisch, he essentially lost to her by like a few hundred votes before in 2022. It looks like they're not going to get the rematch. But if you're looking at dollars to donuts, he raised about 7.7 million to Boebert's 2.4 million. And usually in these situations, money talks a lot. I mean, sometimes it doesn't. There's totally a chance that he could have lost to fucking again. If I'm being honest with you, this guy's like touting himself as pro-normal, which sounds like so milquetoast. It sounds so fucking boring. This guy does not sound cool. I mean, I'd be rooting for him against Lauren Boebert for fucking sure. But, I'm not saying this guy's like, the gift to goddamn Colorado or anything like that. That being said, we will see how things shake out come, election time or whatever, when that shit fully hits it, come 2024. But yeah, I thought this was interesting to talk about. And like I said, I really felt like I missed it this year not talking about the Beetlejuice incident. So I'm glad I at least got to riff on that a little bit. So thank you. Let's move along though. From The Guardian. Chinese chess champion stripped of title after defecating in hotel bathtub. This shit was crazy. Okay, the world of Chinese chess is in uproar over rumors of cheating and a bad behavior scandal that saw the national champion stripped of his title on Monday after a victory celebration ended with him defecating in a hotel bathtub. That's partying way too hard, bro. Yangqi, or Chinese chess, has been hugely popular for hundreds of years across Asia, and 48-year-old Yang Chenlong beat dozens of contenders last week to win the title of Zhengqi King at a national tournament hosted by the Chinese Zhengqi Association. But his joy was short-lived, with the CXA on Monday announcing that Yan would have his title revoked and prize money confiscated after had been caught disrupting public order and displaying extremely bad character. So I gotta say, they moved fucking quick. They did not hesitate. The association was also forced to address rumors circulating online that Yan had cheated during the competition by using anal beads equipped with wireless transmitters to send and receive signals. And my God, golly, I caught the brain blast after I read that, because I'm thinking of Hans Niemann. I'm like, we talked about that guy. We made memes about that fucking shit. And here is Yan, potentially, allegedly, maybe, doing it, clapping his own cheeks for the victory. Yan allegedly clinched and unclinched rhythmically to communicate information about the chessboard via code to a computer, which then sent back instructions on what moves to make in the form of vibrations, according to reports circulating on the Chinese social site Weibo. Based on our understanding of the situation, it is currently impossible to prove that Yan engaged in cheating via anal beads, as speculated on social media. But that being said, he is stripped of his title and banned from playing for a year after his celebrations went wayward. Let's just read about that a little further. Yan consumed alcohol with others in his room on the night of the 17th, and then he defecated in the bathtub of the room he was staying in on the 18th. In an act that damaged hotel property, violated public order and good morals, had a negative impact on the competition and the event of Zhengqi, and was extremely bad character, the association said. They didn't say how much they took back in terms of prize money, but it's like tens of thousands of yuan, or yen, I think it's yuan, and or thousands of dollars. It's so crazy. It's so crazy, dude. And like, I'm low-key thinking, like, was the pooping in the bathtub, was that like related because of the anal bead? Like what was the motivation there? Because why do you poop in your bathtub? Like, do you ever get so pissy drunk that you do that? I have not done that. Like, if I have like a diarrhea flow situation, maybe. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe he drank so much you get the diarrhea shits, and he's like, I don't even give a shit. I'm a champion. But I truly think he could have gotten away with it had he not done the bathtub thing. And getting too rowdy, getting too reckless. You know, he just partied too hard. But man, imagine clapping your own cheeks for the dub. Who knows? Did he do that? We'll never know. Unless he comes out and admits that, there's just no way. We can never know, you know? Just like with Hans Niemann, even though he's still standing on business, he's like, I did not cheat. I would never use anal beads. I beat Magnus fair and square. Sure, bud. I don't know. Whatever. I believe you. Okay. We have one more thing to cover, and then I'll let you go. I don't know. That means I'm going to take my break. Yeah, it's about time for that. Oh, yeah. Yumma. From ABC News, Amazon Prime Video will start showing ads next month. Yeah. Amazon Prime Video will start showing ads next month. Boo. Whack ass shit. Boo. You fucking suck. Fuck you, Andy. I think it's Andy Jassy. aka Bezos 2.0. Fuck you, man. Amazon will begin displaying advertisements in movies and TV shows on its Prime Video streaming service next month. The company said in an email to subscribers this week, viewed by ABC News. Customers will be offered an ad-free alternative for an additional $2.99 per month, the company added. This will allow us to continue investing in compelling content and keep increasing that investment over a long period of time, the company said. We aim to have meaningful, fewer ads than linear TV and other streaming TV providers. Yeah. Blow it out your butthole. AKA, they're getting some downstream costs, maybe because, like, strike shit, or they're just like, we're just feeling a little bit hungrier this year. You know what I mean? Maybe our shareholders could line their pockets a little bit thicker. Why not? And so they said, yeah, we have to crank more blood from the stone that is Amazon Prime Video. I mean, I get it. I get the logic here. We can add ads. It's not that crazy of an upscale. Also considering that Amazon Prime Video subscriptions cost $8.99 per month, as is, which is lower than most, I would add. Like, I know for Netflix without ads, which is like completely fucking garbage. I think you can't even use it on like your mobile or some shit. It's very annoying. It's very cringe. It's very gross. But that's $6.99. But like, essentially for the normal Netflix, you're paying about, I don't fucking know, about $16.50, I think. So yeah, I mean, with this plus the $2.99, you're paying about $13, which is about my YouTube premium cost. I'm not too pressed about that, but I think about this as like, if I'm already paying for Prime, the whole delivery thing, this is supposed to come as like a free add-on, and now you're goosing me. Like, you're saying, oh, now since, you want to watch The Boys or whatever the fuck, you're just going to have to get fucking pay an extra, $2.99 on top of that. And I'm like, that's whack. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like Hulu, I still watch Hulu with ads. It's not the worst thing. But granted, I watch Hulu once in a blue moon when I'm not watching like Twitch TV or YouTube, which I pay money for each because I am a degenerate weirdo. But yeah, that's more or less it. Yeah, Andy Jassy. Tomato Town, Andy Jassy. Amazon CEO. Fucking butthole. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have. That's the episode. If you'd like to help out the effort, support financially, you can. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. You can become a Patreon today. Patron today. Yeah. A newsie, if you will. I shout you out at the top of the month. I plug a project if you'd like. Shout out your name. And you can hit me up for the free on IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. And you can find me on all the socials you're on. Hopefully you're subscribed to the YouTube. It helps out a lot. If you are, hit that like, hit thumbs up thing, hit that bell to keep up with new episodes. And you can do that on all your listening apps. It is available at a couple of keystrokes or button mashes. You take your pick. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have. Hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.